Yeah, FABA, for advisors by advisors. Hosted by Evan J. Mayer, where the real ones talk business, no filters, no favors. How they structure, they practice, how they build their team. Independent route or employee machine. Talk platforms, payouts, culture and growth. What really works when you out there on the road? No canned lines, just advisors being straight. Real conversations from the people who relate. Double podcast for advisors by advisors.
This is For Advisors by Advisors. I'm your host, Evan J. Mayer, and today we have a very special guest, Mr. Tiago Lima.
Awesome. Great to be here.
What's going on, Tiago?
Just enjoying this beautiful summer that we're having and excited for the quarter to close next week.
Awesome. Well, Tiago is a partner with Sovereign Wealth Strategy Group. Got a few advisors already on the team. Affiliated with Raymond James for about 3 years and is on the independent side. I thought he would bring a really unique perspective as he's one of the very few people that were with a captive insurance company that ended up going independent. Originally was with a Northwestern Mutual. I have a ton of questions, by the way, and thanks so much for joining today. Can you give us a little background on yourself, your group? Who came from Northwestern? Did you all move over together? Was it separate? And kind of your history through the business.
Absolutely, yeah. I joined the industry back in 2011. Basically worked at Northwestern virtually my entire career in a few different offices there. I did the college internship. I ended up working in operations for a bit, and then I partnered with my current business partner, Mark Anderson, in 2015 October. We were there for, as you can see, over a decade. Learned a lot. Thought that was a great place to grow up, if you will, in the industry. And then we obviously left for Raymond James in the fall of 2022. And yes, we brought the whole team over. It was 9 people initially. We had planned on just doing myself, Mark, and Erica, our other, partner, for lack of a better word, our current CEO for our firm. But we ended up telling some of our staff we were leaving, some of the other advisors that we had done work with and mentored over the years. And everyone's goes, well, if you're leaving, we want to leave as well. And so kind of overnight, our small little outfit of 3 people turned into 9. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster. I'm sure anyone going through transition has fun stories, but 100.
Did you already negotiate like a deal with Raymond James with the 3 of you, and then kind of had to go back with this other group? And how fast was it from the time you told them to the time you moved?
That's a great question. Yeah, we started looking honestly 2 years out, and so we were pretty even transparent with our leadership at our older firm about why we were unhappy, things that needed to change, the issues that we were having. And so we interviewed 7 different firms over that 2-year period, ranging from Commonwealth to Charles Schwab RA, Wirehouses, Bleakley, you name it, all great firms. LPL was in there as well. We just felt Raymond James, after all the interviews, was the best place for our clients. And that was just for us, right? But yeah, basically by January of 22, everyone was on board. We were still interviewing firms and kind of coming down to our final choice there. And then by April, we decided to commit to Raymond James. And from there, we had another about 5 months of prep time.
Oh, great. So you didn't move to the end of the year. So you guys had a good 9-month window of ramp up.
Correct. Yeah. We I think, as I mentioned before, the majority of the firm was in the military or married into the military. About 2/3 of our clientele are either active duty officers or retired veterans. So planning for us and thinking ahead is very much in our DNA. And so we really wanted to make sure that we were going to do this the right way, and because we only wanted to do this once.
So talk to me a little bit about Northwestern. From what I know, and again, I only know from either the advisors that I've met or clients, it's a very captive insurance company. They sell proprietary insurance products. Some of those insurance products, from what I hear, are phenomenal. Some are not so good, but there's a lot of phenomenal insurance through Northwestern Mutual, where I actually have clients that I was like, hey, these policies are very good. You can't get them anywhere else. Keep them. And so, but on the investment side, they were very much lacking from what I learned about them. Is that why you initially made the move? What were your thoughts as far as what were some positives about being with Northwestern, and what were some negatives that you didn't think that where you are today far surpasses where you were at then?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question, that was absolutely one of the reasons I've always ran the platform for our practice and for our team. And it was being an analog player in a digital age. I mean, we were really behind the times on technology, on trading, in running an investment book. For context, I had 667 accounts that are discretionary at Northwestern at our high point there. We have over 3,000 now for our platform here. I had 3 staff members that helped me run that before. I need 1 person here at Raymond James to trade, call it 5 times the amount of advisory business that we have 3 years later. So that
did they have a discretion managed platform at Northwestern Mutual?
They did, yeah. You got to qualify for it though. So it's a certain amount of expertise, a certain amount of production. Signature Choice is the name of that platform. And yeah, there were in some ways you could do your own models and portfolios, but you're still kind of beholden to the rules. Here it's open architecture, right? If you want to have 3 funds in there and charge 2%, you could do that. At the old place though, you had to still stay within their structures. A certain amount in large cap, certain amount in small cap, commodities, etc.
So they very, very much modern. Like if you were not stuck to modern portfolio theory, you could not manage money the way you would want to manage money there. You had to, you had to hit those certain buckets.
100%. You were very much handcuffed in what you could do, and then you're also limited. I think this is what really made me open my eyes. You're limited to what you can invest in. If things were on the preferred list, there could be transaction fees. Can you imagine telling a client that's paying a wrap fee that they need to pay a ticket charge for buying Vanguard's mutual fund or an ETF or an individual stock? So that was a huge negative for us, and it was something that was we realized very quickly in 2020 after the pandemic that we probably weren't going to be there long term. It just didn't make sense for our clients. I mean, I couldn't validate charging them a ticket price every time they funded their account to invest stuff. So
and were you doing mostly managed money there?
We were about 50-50. So I think when we left at our high point, we had about 200 million in assets, about 100 million was in brokerage. It's kind of how we grew up. I mean, I think all of us remember the direct to fund days. I think I can still taste the ink in my fingertips from opening up those applications.
Yeah.
But we had just a little bit over 100 million in managed money. Virtually all of it at that point in time was in the discretionary model. I had to repaper basically our entire platform after the pandemic because we had a lot of money in what's called SIGPORT, be akin to our freedom models here at Raymond James. Their home office run. We found out, I guess, in horror, and I think they improve upon this later, but none of the accounts, for our clientele during that time, during the pandemic, got rebalanced or got traded. It was a whole issue in trying to show clients you're being active and doing things, and nothing was really done during the pandemic in those managed accounts because variance had been exceeded, per their models, which made sense. We just didn't understand that, and I think they ended up lowering variance after the pandemic, so that way they can be more dynamic in trading.
Yeah, that's it's dangerous if you think about it. You have your client's money. You're during a very volatile time. You want to be able to maneuver it where you see fit, and all of a sudden you can't do that.
Exactly. Oh,
yeah.
And for
was that like the straw that broke the camel's back as far as we got to get out of here, or did that come later?
That was really I guess one of the many nails, I guess, in the coffin in our departure. I think costs really came down to it and transparency. It was so hard to understand how we got paid. Even going through all the pro formas with LPL and Commonwealth and Schwab and obviously Raymond James, seeing what we're leaving on the table from a profit standpoint as a business owner was terrifying, honestly. And the percentage that was going to leadership that candidly we had negative opinions about, it just didn't make sense. And then if you wanted to be overweight large cap, for example, I didn't want to go through 19 rounds of compliance to do so. If you wanted to hold a certain fund, I just wanted to buy ETFs and do an all passive portfolio for a client.
We just couldn't do it.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. So that was kind of the main thing. But yeah, I mean, really the scalability aspect too. Again, just think about us as operators trying to block trade 3,000 accounts. Could have taken a week on the old platform.
Yeah. Very, very, very tough. The insurance policies, I've heard they have some great policies.
They do. I think, and I said this with love. I worked there for over a decade. There is a somewhat cult admiration, I think, for NM's policies. It is a great insurance company, and I'm happy to say that I'm still a policy owner. My wife still has insurance there. Most of our clients still have insurance there. But it's not always like as we know as fiduciaries, not every product is meant for everybody.
Yep.
And so we were never big whole life insurance recommenders. It became increasingly obvious for us. I got my CFP in 2019. My partner got his in 2015. It's hard to recommend a proprietary product, and we do believe, and I think still do. Everyone, virtually most Americans should have some form of term insurance, right? Married, mortgage, etc. Needs there, but whole life insurance is a very specific need. And
Was that a big push? Whole life was a
huge
big push, I'm
And
gathering.
I think going back to you asked about catalysts and our departure. For us, particularly in our office, there's a regime change. I think in 2019, if I recall correctly. So a new managing partner came in, and the gears just shifted. It kind of, in my mind, had been about planning and what's best for the client, and it kind of became all about product. That was very much the drive. And that killed us. I mean, that really, I think, put a bad taste in my mouth. I have very fond memories of starting my career in the Washington, D.C. office. I worked in the Denver office at Northwestern Mutual. Great leaders, great people, great other advisors, I thought. It just really just changed for us in 2018. Maybe it just kind of happened simultaneously with us being awakening with our wealth management practice, but it was a huge push. And I mean, I'll still never forget, it had to be 2019 before the pandemic, and leadership came in our office, and Mark, Eric, and I, and they're late, 5:30 at night, and the leader says, "Hey, stop opening up investment accounts for your clients." We're like, "What are you talking about? Like we're onboarding people, we're opening up Roth IRAs and rolling for money." He goes, "Just put that stuff into whole life insurance. It's the same thing, and you get to get it for them." And it always, like, I'll never forget that moment. Mark, Eric, and I just sat there like mouth open, agape, of how could this even be a place, even a questionable idea. And that was kind of the culture that we experienced. I don't think that's indicative of every office. I think we just kind of had a bad final years there, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, it's funny you say this because there's a couple of guys on LinkedIn. They do, spoofs of different parts of the industry. And one of the spoofs they do was the insurance, the captive insurance company, and the concept of, hey, we have this product. You guys need to go sell this product, and you need to call your family, your friends, everybody you know. Northwestern Mutual, I never felt like had quite that, but it sounds like it also depends on, who's running the specific territory at the time.
Correct. I think it is very dependent. Again, night and day difference for us. Who was in Denver and who was running the office, after 2019, after we made our move there. But yeah, I don't know. Just going back to it, maybe I'm embarrassed. Maybe I should have been aware of this years before. But it just kind of hit us. I think 2019, 2020, like, this is not the place. It wasn't the best place for our clients. And that really came down to why we left. I would challenge any advisor out there looking to leave or considering options. Put your people first.
100%.
I hate to be cheesy, but Mark and I sat down and prayed upon it and talked about it and talked to our families about it. But it really came down to, the field of dreams mentality of, if you build it the right way, clients will come. And I'll be candid, when we were looking at interviewing firms, Raymond James wasn't necessarily the best financial offer as far as TA money or
sure.
Talking about grid payout and everything else. But it was the best place for our clients in our practice, and therefore, looking back now 3.5 years later, we hit 4 years this fall, I couldn't be happier, honestly.
Yeah, no. It's look. I think a lot goes into saying, I'm not going to take the best financial offer if long term for my business and for my clients, I'm getting the best tools, technologies, name recognition, protection of AI, all that. One last question though, I did have on Northwestern Mutual, and then I kind of want to change topics to where you guys are today. I've heard that the payouts actually are pretty insanely high on a gross level. If you do a certain amount of insurance policy. So if there's a certain amount of money through insurance, I've heard payouts in the 95 percent range. And then me and you were talking at a conference, and you said, well, that's not so true. We didn't dive too deep into that. Can we dive a little deeper into that?
Absolutely. I think it's a really important thing to bring up, and I'm sure every advisor crew out there is smiling right now. As a business owner and advisor, you have to look at net profit, right? And you and I were talking about that. I remember at our notes conference when we were out there in North Carolina. For us, for example, we were at 90, just to talk about our broker business. We had done a lot of insurance. We had over $1 million of a GDC placement when we were there. And our real net take home before paying staff or taxes, just after NM took all their fees, was only 68%. right? Whereas,
Yep.
let's say you're at the highest RJFS payout, which is 90, right? You're probably somewhere at 84 bips, right?
Yep.
Give and take, obviously everyone's individual practice, are you an enterprise model, et cetera, but so there is some nuance there, but still, right? I mean, substantially higher. And so for us, right, when we came over, we could charge our clients less, have a better platform, more scalability, more optionality, and also make more money, right? All
And,
together.
where was that, like that delta of that 22? Was that platform fees, trading costs? What else is kind of
Absolutely.
associated in that?
And maybe it's changed. I mean, we're 3.5 years out from it, but there were so many like little ticky tack fees from. I mean, we had to pay like almost $5,000 just to be part of this discretionary platform. And then also did something which I thought was interesting. They would pay you gross first, right, and then take out all their stuff. Or sorry, they take all their stuff first, then pay you at grid, and then you get your payout, right? Whereas here at Raymond James, it's the opposite, right? You get the larger amount. So little things like that. But yeah, it really added up. It really did. And they also had higher program fees. I mean, at one point we were there, you could be paying over 20 basis points just to be part of like the managed platform there.
Yeah, and this goes out to all advisors, by the way. One of the main things I think that's important, from doing this podcast for the last 3+ years, and then from just talking to advisors throughout the country that have come from multiple different platforms, there's always fees. So you need to know what those fees are. So if you're being offered 90% or 95% or 85 or 90 or 70%, you want to know what your net is. And so the best thing to do is get something called a pro forma run that shows all those platform fees coming out, all those ticky tack charges, and what the worst case scenario looks like for your book of business. Let's hop into Raymond James. You chose Raymond James. Did you guys end up doing like a home office visit?
We did. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
very impressed. I remember meeting Scott Curtis, and I was just instantly liked him. And everyone we met there was prim and proper and polished. They did a very good job. And again, LPL Commonwealth, I think also did great, but particularly for what we were looking for, that white collar, very classy appeal, that was Raymond James. And in thinking of our clients, especially our older clients, moving over, they wanted to have, in having our independence, but also being able to have our cake and eat it too, and be backed by an amazing company with big history. That's Raymond James, right? It's a wealth management company to its core, and so that really did sell us.
And when you came over, and I still believe now, as of right now, you guys are not your own OSJ. However, you're using OSJ services through Raymond James. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yeah. So we're our own branch, I guess. But yes, we still conscribe, to the home office OSJ. And we have our regional guy. They come out. They're very helpful. It's just me and Mark taking a test, obviously, and then perhaps.
No, but I think it goes to a very good point that when you go independent, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take on additional responsibilities if you so choose. You don't want to.
Yeah. No. That's a good point.
And I think whether you're paying a percentage or two to handle that, and it's something you don't want to do. It's similar to payroll. I didn't want to do my own payroll company, so I hired a company called Insperity that does my payroll for me.
We use them as well.
Yeah, use Insperity as well. So I think a lot of what makes it fearful for people that are with insurance companies or through the employee side, you don't necessarily need to do this stuff on your own. And you guys are using Raymond James as an OSJ, but that doesn't mean that in a year from now you guys go and get your 9 and 10 and you say, hey, we're gonna handle our OSJ responsibility and we'll take on that additional risk and cost.
Exactly. Yeah, perfectly well said.
Yeah. Tell me, so today you guys are sitting on about $500 million in assets.
Correct.
Managing five advisors from what I saw out there, a couple support staff, really good building team. What did you initially, 3 years ago bring over compared to where you are today?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So we left, September or really at 1 October of 2022. At that point in time, like our last day at Northwestern, I think we had 155 million in assets.
So you tripled.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
We probably captured of that. We obviously didn't bring over every client. We probably, only brought over 60%, and by design, of course. Like we really wanted to have this time to clean out and just do some soul searching on what we want our business to be like. And I think we had 116 million January of 2023. And then today we're I guess give
So
the market
actually
some
four
shade
times.
at a half billion. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
yeah,
crazy. I don't we have a great team here. We do anywhere from 70 to 80 million net new assets. We're all young. I'm 35. Mark's 40. Kyle, Nick, and Alex are 32 and 33, and then obviously Amy and Dave look like they're
Tiago,
39.
stop gloating, okay?
Yeah.
No, it's awesome, dude. It's to be in your 30s, the oldest on the team being 40, and to develop that already, sky's the future for you. You got a good future ahead of you. You left in a troubling time too. It was the end of 2002, so markets were down. Was that part of the push a little bit? I mean, what was your first of all, was it broker protocol or no non-broker protocol for you?
I think we were non-protocol.
You were non-protocol.
Is that
so?
Yeah. All we could take was 5 pieces of information. So it was name, email.
No. So you were broker protocol. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you were able to call the clients and actually solicit, as long as you only took those 5 pieces of information.
Well, even then we couldn't solicit, right? I mean, buy our contracts, and there was a lot of obviously no legal issues ever transpired, but lawyers were obviously involved in our transition. We were very strict about that. We didn't take any data. We sent out our tombstone letter per the advice of our attorney, and I think for us, we didn't really have to solicit. We didn't solicit anybody. Nor really even had to call them. Our former boss was not thrilled with our departure, and then decided to have his army of Series 6 new advisors start calling our clients at 0700 that Thursday, and so he kind of just pushed people to us because they had a script they had to follow, and they, for some reason, I guess, were telling clients they couldn't tell them where Mark and I went or where our team went, and they're just like, well, we have their cell phones because we've talked to them for a decade. We're just going to call them. And so we opened up over 1,000 accounts in our first 3 weeks here, and we're just inundated with people calling in because they're like, hey, we heard you guys left. Please take us with you. It ended up being I remember I was very
That's
upset
awesome,
about
Tiago.
it, but it was such a blessing, honestly, in them going that route because it pushed people to us to call us directly, which was the best thing that could have happened.
That was a round of applause, by the way.
Thank you.
Awesome job. So, Sovereign Wealth Strategy Group, what is the future? Where do you want to go? You guys are all young. Are we wanting to recruit more? Are we wanting to grow organically? Are we wanting to grow non-organically? What's our business thought process going forward?
That's a great question, and Evan, the answer may change if you ask me this in a year from now. We're just looking to grow organically. We've only onboard one other advisor who is actually a guy I had trained 10 years ago over at Northwestern together. He's brilliant. Alex Cook on our team here, and reached out to us about a year and a half after our departure. Is like, do you guys have room? And we're like, for you, we do. And it's been one of our best acquisitions. He's doing very well. I think we really just want to take care of our clients. I've realized the longer I've done this, just giving good quality service to people that we've cared for the last decade pays off in dividends. We love our clients, and we're doing well financially, and our families are great. We don't really need to get anything bigger. And I've realized in leadership, adding more people to our incredible chemistry mixture can be dangerous, right? You've got to be very deliberate and careful, and culture has to come first. So we're open to expanding, but very slowly and pragmatically.
And compensation structure wise, are you guys all getting money through like 1099 through Raymond James and then adding money to a partnership for bills and expenses, or do you do it
That's a great question. There's so many different ways to structure this. I realize no two Raymond James firms are alike.
Yeah.
Mark and I are the two equity partners, so we cover all expenses for staff, rent, compliance, right? All the big ticket items. We take each of the guys own their books, so we were very, and we've gotten feedback that was not the best way to do it or overly generous, and I said that with a smile. But we were so adamant and so angry when we left Northwestern and realizing what we actually owned there and what was real, that on day one we wanted our people to have, and to give because more context, grid starts at 35%. Our guys are all in the 70s for payout. We really want to do that. That was very important to us. Speaking candidly between you and me and everyone listening to this, we may have not been profitable, right, from that standpoint for our first year or two. But it's been the best thing. It's enabled our guys to live the lives they want to live and have freedom and flexibility and pull in together. So
Well, you
That's how, yeah,
quadrupled your assets, so something's working, and
it's working great.
you know,
Yeah, no chance of deviating at this point in time. If we bring on future advisors, perhaps we'll look at a W-2 model or some form of hybrid. And there's many ways to skin that cat. Just for the initial four guys, they own their books. They're on there. They have their own rep codes. They have expenses too, of course, but and then they get a straight grid payout, and that's it.
You talked earlier about military. Were you past military?
No, I'm one of the few civilians on the team.
Civilians, but a lot of your clients are military clients. Is that kind of like a niche, and how'd you kind of get into that? Is it more because of the people that serve that are part of the team?
Absolutely. I mean, also I think it's proximity. I'm here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. There's 5 major installations, right? Air Force Academy, Carson, Schriever, Peterson, NORAD. So I think just being in this town, it's a military town. And then, yes, I think Mark, my partner, he was an Army officer. He deployed to Afghanistan. His wife went to West Point. Dave, Nick, Kyle, all serve as officers in the military. Amy and Erica are both married to military officers. So just very much in our DNA. I remember a mentor of mine years ago had advised me not to work in that industry or work with those because they're not business owners. They don't have a lot of money. And that was the most dumb thing I've ever heard. And I'm so happy to say it out loud. We love working with military clients because they want to plan. Military officers want to sit down and plan and have vision, have foresight, and are very disciplined. And they're good people.
Excellent.
So,
what would be you were talking, and you weren't trying to recruit. You were just talking to Northwestern advisors that are out there today. What would you say to them that are big fears that you guys feel they have that are really nothing to be afraid of when you made this move?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I would first tell them my biggest regret is not doing this sooner. There's never a great time. Don't wait to hit a certain AUM threshold. Don't wait to get your CFP. You have an obligation to your clients to give the best possible level of service, and it's going to be hard to do that as long as you're still there, in my humble opinion, if you're being a fiduciary. As far as advice on things to look at or things to focus on, I mean, start asking the question, right? I mean, you are a business owner, you're an advisor, you have to be doing these things. And yes, a move is never easy, no matter where you go. But it is so worth it at the end of it. I moved in 2022. I had just gotten married, went to Costa Rica for 2 weeks for my honeymoon. The day we got back, I resigned. My wife got promoted that same fall and decided to also get me a puppy.
Did you actually sleep on that vacation?
No, I remember the last day I was Ash and I were in the water, and I'm just sitting there the stress is just hitting me. I'm like, I get back tomorrow, and it's going to be this crazy D-Day experience of like going through life. So yeah, it wasn't easy, and I think this actually brings up a great story. And the final nail of why we ended up leaving, going to Raymond James. We were one of several teams to leave our office in the last 2 years there. About 8 months prior, or a year prior to departure. So in 2021. Nick Berger, Christopher Brzezinski, and Brandon Stevenson were at Northwestern for us, all left to Raymond James. I think they were actually buying a book here. Brandon was a West Pointer and a Green Beret. Chris was also a West Pointer, and Nick was the valedictorian at Naval Academy. Great guys. They're still here in town, as far as Chris and Nick go. Brandon was a good buddy of mine. He's a few years older than me. He loved to drink whiskey. We would still stay in touch after he left. And he called me and he's like, T, why are you guys still there? Like, what are you doing? And I remember we had gone through all the rigmarole, and I had just been like, Mark, I don't know if we should do this. We're doing so well. We're like the number one team here, and people bring us business, and life's easy. And I told Brandon, I'm like, it's gonna be a lot of work, man. And I don't want to repay for the platform after DOL, just all the excuses. And I remember it was Tuesday, the week before Army Navy in 2021, and Brandon tells me on the phone, he goes, T, nothing worth doing is ever easy. Brandon passed away that Saturday.
Wow.
He deployed, I believe, 7 times in his military career as a Green Beret, an Army officer. I think he'd been around, exposed to some stuff and chemicals, and by Friday afternoon wasn't feeling well, ended up in the ER, and he died that weekend.
Oh my God.
That forever
My
haunts.
condolences to you. Yeah.
No, thank you. And his partners, Chris and Nick, I've done a fantastic job.
That would have gotten me to move, I think.
Yeah, it was just a sign from God, or just a wake up call of like, you've got to do things. And it's the last thing he ever said to me. It's like, nothing's worth doing is ever easy. And I remember as soon as that happened, we ended up taking the meeting of our recruiter, Austin Carr, and the rest is history. I mean,
stories,
it was pretty obvious.
Amazing. I like to end on these questions. What's one pet peeve that you have in this business that other advisors do? Drives you nuts? You see it, you hate it. What is it?
I think it's definitely, it's good for us, but it's response time. I mean, the number one reason you're going to get fired is not being attentive in response to the clients. We've taken a lot of money out of other people that way. It's just, I think the biggest thing I could give advice to, or try to, is get back to your clients within 24 hours. I think we have an obligation. We're very big about on our team, whether our client calls, emails, or uses Advisor Mobile. We want to be responsive. And so many advisors, I hate to say it, I think are just kind of coasting. And that's good for us. Please continue to coast.
And my other question was, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to younger advisors starting the business? But I think you just answered it, which is you need to communicate. You know, be in touch with your clients, call them back as soon as possible. Yeah, I mean, I'm producing significant revenue, and I don't go home at night until everybody's called back. So it's easy customer service.
Yeah, I'll tell new advisors too. You have to. I keep hearing like this lifestyle practice mentality. It doesn't exist. You're working with people, and I want to.
You do know that's your age group, right?
It must be us millennials. Like I keep hearing this from my guys that are 32 and 33 that don't work 20 hours a week and manage $100 million and golf 4 times a week. That's not life. I think to be the best and to be an ultimate planner, you've got to do the work ethic. It's the biggest thing. And I would applaud Mark, my partner, as long as I've known him. And him and Erica outwork me. I mean, they are always going. Mark will email people to get back. You should make sure it's done by midnight if he has to. That's what it takes. You know, I think to be at that level of the game is you have to put the time in. And if for those that don't, I guess I salute you. Thank you for not doing that, because it makes us look good.
One last question: What was the moment that you realized we made it? So you quit that morning, right? You're in the office. You're sending out emails. You're getting assets in. How long was it before, was it like, for me, I'll give you an example. I knew within 3 weeks that we had enough assets to survive. And then by the 3rd month, I'm like, damn right, we made it. When did that come for you?
I think ours was about 6 months. I think like April-ish of 23 that really hit. We had hit what we needed to hit by January, that first quarter for billables. Right, we left like basically Q4, and then our first main billable after flow billing was Q1. It was about 6 months. And that to say, it still wasn't easy. I mean, I had to build out an office. It's a lot of stuff going on. Staff members all around the country still. Amy was still in Kentucky, Commercial Hospital still in command. Eric was out in Georgia and DC. Marcus in Spokane, Kyle in Virginia. So just a lot of logistics were still a pain. But from a revenue standpoint, it was about 3 months. Within 6 months, I was feeling pretty good. And now it's crazy. I mean, we've 4x'd ourselves, right, in less than, I would say, really in about 3 years. Yeah. As of January of this year, we had 4x'd ourselves, so 3 years.
It's amazing. It's amazing progress. I do want to throw it out there. Tiago is our first insurance financial advisor that made it onto the independent platform and was hugely successful in it. Tiago, if anybody wants to reach out to you specifically from the insurance side and just pick your brain a little bit, what's a great way they could reach you? Yeah,
I mean, simply an email or call the office line. I'm happy to chat. We've already helped. I mean, be candid. We've already helped 4 other large teams come over in the last 2 years. Obviously, honoring our agreements, not doing any recruiting. Just people reach out to us and add questions, and I'm happy to help. As my mentor told me, who we actually helped bring over, him and his practice are over here on platform now. They're up in Littleton. He joked that I had already done all the work. He's like, "Where's the best place to leave?" They're also at Northwestern. They were at Northwestern. And I gave him all my notes. He goes, "You guys are Raymond James. We're going to Raymond James." It was just that kind of simple. So happy to chat, guys. Shoot me an email, please. Office line 719-785-0022. Call anytime. I'm more than happy to help, offer our insights. I'm passionate about people being in a position to help other Americans and having the best tools available.
Awesome, Tiago. We appreciate you. For listeners out there, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. We'll have some more coming your way shortly. Make sure you subscribe so we know you're following us and watching us. And we appreciate you. Have a good day.
Yeah, FABA for advisors by advisors. Hosted by Evan J. Mayer, where the real ones talk business, no filters, no favors. How they structure, they practice, how they build their team. Independent route or employee machine. Talk platforms, payouts, culture and growth. What really works when you out there on the road? No can lines, just advisors being straight. Real conversations from the people who relate. Double podcast for advisors by advisors.